Hi, this is Miguel Murphy, and I'm here with,
Chimene Garrison.
and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm really excited. Actually, I've been looking forward to this conversation with you, Chimene, about breast cancer awareness. Last weekend at the Bayfront Park, Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure, hundreds, I would say thousands,
Thousands.
came out to acknowledge that activity and those impacted by breast cancer awareness. But go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's get into the conversation about breast cancer awareness and the signs and what can one do to heed.
Okay, so again, I am Chimene Garrison, and I am a two-time cancer survivor. I had colon cancer back in 2010, stage 3, and then recently, this February, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which it's been a journey already, because as soon as I found out and I received my diagnosis, I just jumped into action, because I believe that, faith without work is dead. So I feel like there are things that I need to do to make sure and to preserve my own survival. So as soon as I found out, the next thing that I wanted to do was to figure out what is my plan of care. And so early detection, I think, is very important. And I should back up a little bit, because even though I was diagnosed in February, I am an identical twin. And my twin sister was diagnosed with cancer back in 2012. So she is a cancer survivor. And so a lot of what I know came from watching her and being her caregiver through her process. And so going back to early detection, my twin sister felt her lump early. And she brought it to my attention, and we both agreed that, hey, listen, let's go figure out what this is, and let's move forward from there. So she found out that she had breast cancer, and her cancer was stage 2. And fast forward to 2018 now, my cancer is also stage 2, which is still considered early. And with stage 2, the survival rate is very good. Also, you want to pay attention. You want to know what's going on with your body, because sometimes it's not anything that you're doing per se that might cause you to end up having cancer. For my twin sister and I, it did turn out to be that it is genetic. So, that's how I became an expert in this field. It's basically going through it myself and watching my twin sister. The funny thing is, no one else in our family really was diagnosed with cancer that we know of or have had cancer. So we're beginning this whole trend in our family, which means that from this point forward, our children and our children's children will have to be extra vigilant and making sure that they check and follow up and do what they need to do in order to detect whatever's going on in their bodies early.
So what would be the first step? I'm a young man, so it's sort of and I'll be honest, sort of a foreign world for me, but important, because I see so many, around me or in the community that this has impacted. But how do I support someone that I know?
Well, it's going to be, for me, I'm going to tell you, it's more than you just supporting, because you will not believe that statistically there's not a large number, but did you know that men can also get breast cancer?
Yes.
So as I'm going through my chemotherapy and my treatment, I noticed that there are a few men each time that I go that are there. I mean, obviously there are more women, but there are definitely a few men. And at first I didn't realize that they were there for breast cancer treatment. I thought maybe it was another type of cancer that they can use similar treatment. And so speaking to one of my nurses, I asked her, I was like, are they here for breast cancer treatment? And she said, yeah, they are. And not that I didn't know that, but I hadn't seen it before. So even with you, if you find that there's, a mass or a lump in your chest area, you should go and get that checked. Don't assume that it's nothing, that maybe you hit yourself, especially if it's not going away. You need to make sure that you go and get that checked. And how can you be supportive? Is that for the women in your life, you need to also encourage them to check themselves and to not be afraid. A lot of times people find that they have a lump and they may say something to someone, but they're afraid to go. They're afraid to go and get it checked because they don't want to know. But knowing, I believe this wholeheartedly, is half the battle. You're halfway there once you know, because now there are things that you can do in order to save yourself. And
Absolutely.
believe me, it's life or death if you don't do something about it. However, cancer in itself is not a death sentence, okay? You can survive, you can live, you can have a normal life even after having cancer if you can beat it. But if you don't do anything about it, you're not going to beat it, and you are eventually going to die. So that is how important it is. You need to do something about it in order for you to survive. So your support comes in by encouraging people to go get checked, encouraging women, especially, over 40, let's say, to go and get their mammograms and to follow through. If the doctor says come back in 6 months, come back in 6 months. If they say come back in a year, come back in a year. And I mean, I'm not afraid to share my story now, but I can tell you that my doctors did tell me to come back in 6 months, but I didn't. I came back in a year. And in a year, I've had stage 2 breast cancer. However, to make myself feel better, the breast that they were watching was not the one that I ended up with cancer in. So imagine in 1 year, on my left breast, they didn't see anything of concern. A year later, I already had stage 2 breast cancer in my left breast. The right breast that they were watching, it had pre-cancer cells, but it was not cancer yet. So, you really need to follow through
up.
and follow up.
Thank you for sharing that. And, guys, as well, it's important to get checked. It's not only a women's thing to go get checked. So heed that advice. Now let's go back a week from actually today at downtown. What was that experience like for you at the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure? I know I was up at 4 o'clock. It's a tradition because I'm on a team that, Miss Carla Hill and Marlon Hill, also a survivor. And I get up every year. It starts the day before, actually the week before for me. We get a lot of donations and we, celebrate the survivors, and it's always overwhelming for me. But what was that experience like for you?
Oh my gosh. So, again, I've gone year after year thinking that I'm supporting other people. Then my twin sister got hit with her breast cancer in 2012. So then from that point, every year I go because I'm supporting her. And I am marching and walking so that we can raise money to help with the research and to help with the cure for cancer. But being there this year, last Saturday, they have what they call the survivors walk, where we start off the walkathon. And being a survivor and holding that rose and wearing my pink and hearing them talk about survivors and people that have survived 20, 30, 40 years, being in that cohort of people, I was proud to be a survivor. And although my journey is not over yet, because I have done most of my chemotherapy, I've done a bilateral mastectomy, and I know that's scary for a lot of people. It was scary for me because, I'm used to my body, I'm used to the way that I look. Not a perfect body, but it was my body, And once we found out that it was stage 2, HERS positive, which is Herceptin positive breast cancer, I made the decision that I was going to just go ahead and do the bilateral mastectomy, meaning that I removed both of my breasts. And I'm going to have them reconstructed. As a matter of fact, my surgery is next week. It's going to be a very big surgery because of the type of reconstruction that I'm doing. I'll be hospitalized for about a week. However, I am happy that I made the decision to do this because it's going to make my chances of reoccurring breast cancer that much less because the other breast is not there. And sometimes women decide that they're only going to remove the breast that's affected. And, you know, I would say a good percentage of the time that's enough. But sometimes the breast cancer could spread to another breast, and I wanted to avoid that. But each woman has to make their own decision in terms of what they want to do. It's, you know, it's your body. You shouldn't let anyone pressure you into making a decision that you're not comfortable with. But being a part of the walk, you know, it gives you that much more strength to continue with your fight because you see women in all stages of the fight. And as I was there, of course, you know, I make friends and I spoke to people. I spoke to women that were recently diagnosed. I spoke to women that, you know, just got through it a year ago. And I spoke to older women that are in their 70s that beat breast cancer 30, 40 years ago. And the other thing that I would say to the audience is the treatment is so much different than it was even 2 to 5 years ago. It's not the same. You know, looking at me, you can probably tell I didn't lose that much weight being on chemotherapy and going through everything. As a matter of fact, I probably gained weight. But women in the past, you know, they would lose a lot of weight. There was a lot of nausea. There's a lot of, you know, throwing up, feeling sick. And not that I didn't feel sick, because I definitely felt sick. The energy levels were not there. However, the progress that has been made with cancer research have given doctors a lot more to work with to make sure that patients are more comfortable as they complete this journey. So yes, it's scary. Yes, you're going to feel sick sometimes, but no, you will not be on your deathbed if you fight for your life.
Thank you for sharing that that piece of information. So I too was at the walk, like I said, and you know, it's just it's overwhelming emotions. I'm even emotional now, but it's something that I look forward to every year. Now, as we wrap up this conversation, is there any last advice that you want to share? I know that on campus on Tuesday, upcoming Tuesday, October 23rd, we're all going to be wearing pink. This is led by our TRIO Student Support Services team. We're all going to be wearing pink in honor of our colleagues like yourself and family members who are going through that experience or who have gone through that experience. But it's not about the pink, you know,
Right.
and as the walk last week, you know, the highlight was it's more than just pink, right? It's real. So what advice would you like to leave our audience with?
I was definitely going to touch on that. You know, we all wear pink. I've been putting on my pink little accents here and there over the past few months, actually, but definitely this month I've been doing that. But it's more than just wearing pink. It is about awareness. It's about helping to raise funds to put towards research to find a cure for cancer, not just breast cancer, but definitely cancer in general. And knowing that it's not just that you're wearing pink just to be pretty or to look handsome or be cool because you're supporting a cause. We need to make sure that everyone in our circle, in our family, in our communities, understand that you need to, early detection again, I'm going back to that. You need to check yourself. You need to do self-examinations. If you feel a lump, do not be afraid to go to the doctor and find out what it is. Have your mammograms, but mammograms by themselves does not always detect breast cancer. Like I said, my breast cancer was in my left breast. A year ago, I had gone and it was not detected. they saw something in the right breast that they wanted to follow up on, but my cancer ended up being in my left breast, and I found a lump there. Because my twin sister is a survivor, I routinely check myself to make sure, because in the back of my mind I'm thinking we're twins. It's quite possible that this could happen to me, and sure enough it did. So early detection, and the only way you're going to have early detection is by going in and having those exams and making sure that you check yourself, and also by us telling other people to be vigilant about it as well, and to make sure that they're following through with what the doctor tells them. And do not get so afraid once you find out that you don't act upon it. Action is required. You need to go through the process. You will lose your hair. As you can see, I lost mine. About 3 months ago, I was totally bald. It's only been about a month maybe that I've actually had enough hair that you can see. It's come back, salt and pepper.
It's back.
But you know what? It's hair. And if I need to color it, I can do that whenever I'm ready to do that. But you will survive if you take the steps necessary and you follow through with the medical plan, and not just sit on it and wait, because usually if it's detected, it's not just going to go away. Of course, I believe in miracles, but 9 times out of 10 it's not going to go away unless you do something about it.
All right. So thank you, Chimene. Gonna end with a hug.
Yes, absolutely.
And thank you for sharing this touching information. I think it's going to go a long way in making us more aware and hopefully more compassionate toward the cause and give back. Is there one way that they can give back that's easy, or give toward? I know you mentioned research.
Yes.
Is there
the
an organization?
walkathons are good. You can contact your local hospitals. I'm sure that they have ways that they're raising funds for different research and for medical purposes. And people in our community are touched with cancer every day. Be a volunteer. Go help someone. Maybe they need help with the children, picking them up, taking them to school, helping them through the process. I am fortunate to have a very big family and a very big support system with friends and family. And countless times, so many people have told me, let me know if you need anything. But there are people out there that they don't have someone to do these things. And you may not know them or know how to find them. You know what? Go to the breast cancer institutes at the local hospitals and find out, is there a way that I can volunteer here? Get to know a patient. Maybe you'll be able to help them through the process, because it's definitely not easy. But those are some ways that maybe we can help.
Well, thank you. And it's Miguel Murphy again. You know how to find me, mmurphy3 @mdc.edu.